Breaking news tonight, the shockwaves from the U.S. strike in Iraq that killed Iran's top commander.
We took action last night to stop a war.
I think what's so dangerous about this moment is that the president seems to be claiming that he and he alone can make the decision to kill a high-level government official of another country. He doesn't have to consult Congress. He doesn't have to tell the American people. That puts us in a situation where our democracy is really at risk. President Trump ordered a strike to kill General Qassem Soleimani, who was a high-level government official for the government of Iran. And in response, Iran, a few days later, struck U.S. air bases in Iraq. So normally, if the president wants to take a significant military action, what he should do is go to Congress and explain why that strike is necessary, particularly a strike like this that has the potential to ignite a regional war. It has become easier for presidents to take the nation to war now than probably ever before. And that's partially because every president kind of pushes the envelope a little bit further.
We have intervened to stop a massacre.
Think, for example, of President Obama's decision to use military force in Libya in 2011. And when he did that, he didn't seek congressional authorization. We're in a really dangerous moment where President Trump seems to be claiming that he alone gets to decide whether to wage a war. And if he gets away with it, what that does is it suggests that one man can wage the world's most destructive power without having to go to anyone for advice, for consent, or even inform them. It puts American lives at stake. Young people are going to go fight and die for their country. That is the kind of decision that requires and deserves a full-scale democratic debate. What we're discovering from the events that have unfolded is that Congress really has let its war powers atrophy. Over the last several decades, the president has gotten more and more and more powerful, and Congress has generally been pretty content to sit on the sidelines. So one silver lining of all of this might be that suddenly people realize that the war powers situation has gotten completely unbalanced. And what this might open the door to is more full-scale war powers reform.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.